Right, here we go again. Now, okay, I've had a few issues because my previous workspace, hang on, let's just get this up. Yeah, I've had to have, I'm supposed to be looking up here, haven't I? There we go. Woohoo. I got into trouble with my physio because my previous workspace wasn't ergonomic enough. So I've had to put my laptop about 3 foot high off the table and get myself a keyboard because I did me back in with all the recordings. But that's what old age and a sedentary lifestyle will do to you. But you'll be relieved to know that my physio does online appointments. So she got me sorted out and told me to well, I have to do 4 sets of exercises a day, which is really boring. This is also a really boring story, so let's just forget about that. Anyway, let's go there. Right, so very excited to start Brazil. I'd much prefer to be starting it in a classroom, but here we are. It's I think it's a lot more interesting than the other regions that we've done, but also it is the last region, which is very exciting because it means other than one other topic, the EU, we are then done with regional geography, and I do like ticking things off lists. So I'm going to start nice and easy. I'm going to get rid of me a few more freckles since you've probably seen me last. Right, I'll check in again soon. Hope everybody's good. Okay. So Brazil. It is a subcontinental region, and that basically means that it's part of a continent, but it has features that distinguish it from that continent. So if you have a look down here, this is, again, we've seen this a lot, this is what we have to study as part of dynamics of a region. So just remember, as part of the whole regional course, you've got concept of a region, dynamics of a region, which is what we're finishing off now, and we're going to move on to the EU after this, a relatively short topic. So it's a subcontinental region, which means that it's part of a continent, but it has unique features that make it distinguishable from other parts of that continent. Now, the nice thing about Brazil is that we don't have to contrast it with anything. So you won't get, and particularly for higher level, you won't get any questions asking you to contrast the importance of relief in 2 different subcontinental regions you've studied or compare agriculture. It will only ever be questions that are relevant on Brazil. And this is why I think, even though it's quite a long booklet, this is why I think it's slightly easier to approach, because there's not so many combinations of different questions that they can ask you. And again, we've looked at this till we're blue in the face. We're going to be looking at exactly the same things that we've looked at in the Western region, GDA, Paris Basin and Mezzogiorno. We'll be looking at the physical features, the economic activities and the human features that are there as well. Right, so Brazil, a few facts. 5th largest country in the world. By the way, do you know which continent it is part of? So if we're calling it subcontinental, we're saying it's part of a continent, but slightly different from the rest of it. So it would be useful to know that it's part of the South American continent. It's the world's largest river. Do you know what that is? The Amazon. It is the most visited city in the southern hemisphere. Do you know what that is? It is Rio de Janeiro, which is a huge tourist attraction. It hosted the World Cup in 2014 and hosted the Olympics in 2016. And these 2 events really shone a light on Brazil and kind of springboarded them into the news and the media. Not so much always in a positive way, but we'll have a look at that. It's 100 times bigger than Ireland. And this is what you have to understand about Brazil, the sheer size of it. It's absolutely ginormous. And they speak Portuguese, and this is the main thing that distinguishes it from the rest of South America, because the other South American countries speak Spanish. You are correct. It's a rapidly developing country. It would have had a reliance on agriculture up into the middle of the last century, but there's a huge amount of minerals there. It's really rich in minerals. And if you close your eyes and picture yourself sitting in the geography room, you can almost smell the dust from the rocks. And if you picture over on the right hand side of the room, there's a glass cabinet that's full of some of my favourite minerals. A large proportion of those minerals are from Brazil. So it's mineral rich, huge amount of raw materials, and this has encouraged the development of secondary economic activities, which we shall come back to in a minute. Yeah, I love this website. I can't remember the name of it. But if you Google if Brazil were your home instead of Ireland, you'll get these statistics. So if you had I'm not going to say misfortune, if chance would have had it that you were Brazilian and not Irish, you would be 24.1 times more likely to be murdered. You would die approximately 7 years younger. You'd be 5 times more likely to die in infancy, so as a child. You'd be 57.7% less likely to be unemployed. But then you have to think about, well, what job are you going to have though? You'd be 3.5 times more likely to end up in prison. You would make 70% less money, but then again, the cost of living is a lot lower. You would spend 71% less money on healthcare. You would use 58% less electricity, consume 57% less oil, and experience 53% more of a class divide. You'd have 3.3% fewer babies. That one always surprises me. So they have a lower birth rate than Ireland. But just go back to the second last one there for a minute. You'd experience more of a class divide. So you're twice as likely to be discriminated against in Brazil on the basis of your socioeconomic class than you are in Ireland. So there's some interesting things there. There's as many negatives as there are positives. A lot of the things about the murder rates and the prison stuff, that's because there's a huge amount of people living in poverty in the favelas. The favelas, I won't say that all the time, are their equivalent of shanty towns. So if you think back to junior cert geography, the busties were the Indian version. They're just what you call slums or shanty towns, and the favelas are the ones that are found in Brazil. Okay. Did I want to say anything else about that? No, that's just for interest. It's not going to come up. Oh, what am I pressing here? Right, so where is it? There it is there in purple. And it is on the continent of South America. And there is Ireland plonked inside of Brazil. So you can see how vast it is. Huge amounts of it are uninhabitable because of the presence of the Amazon rainforest. But we will talk about distribution of population a bit later on in the course. Right, that brings me on to the sketch map. Now, we have done this. Stop it, go away, this thing, go away by itself. We've done this for your mocks. So just going to recap this very quickly. First thing you need to remember is that if you're drawing the sketch map of Brazil, you need to draw the outline of the South American continent, and then you need to place Brazil roughly within that. It's kind of like the shape of a holster. These are the features then that they're looking for. The urban area is the capital city of Brasilia, industrial centre Sao Paulo, tourism Rio de Janeiro. Now any of those three can be an urban area as well. The river is the Amazon. The mountains are the Eastern Highlands. If you're asked for an area of agriculture, then we're going to go for coffee production in my favourite place, Minas Gerais. The neighbouring country is Uruguay. The equator is there just for fun, the Tropic of Capricorn, and the road connection is the Trans-Amazonian Highway. So what I want you to do at this point is, I'll run through this really quick. Do you remember we played this game? What's missing? Okay, Brasilia. I'm going to test myself here. And there is Brasilia with all of its lovely architecture. It was built in the middle of the 20th century from scratch. It was a greenfield site, so it's quite fancy. There it is again. What's missing? Amazon, world's largest river. And there are some really nice meanders. And there is a piranha. Hang on, I need to tell the children to be quiet. Sorry, they spotted a pigeon at the back and they're very excited. That is what life in lockdown will do for you. Anyway, piranha. And I think we've been through all this. What's next? Pink dolphin. There's the pink dolphin. What's missing? The equator. And the equator is important because it has a very big influence on the climate in Brazil. There's the equator. It's an imaginary line that runs around the centre of the earth at 0 degrees latitude, and it's important because it's where the sun shines most directly on the earth, so it's very hot. What is missing? Minas Gerais and the coffee. Okay, and we'll talk loads about that. So these are big brands that would be based in Brazil and would have plantations, coffee bean plantations in Brazil. And they are the coffee plants. The beans are inside of them. What is missing? Rio? Is it? Yeah, I think so. Rio de Janeiro. And there is Christ the Redeemer, the statue, Sugarloaf Mountain in the background, and you'll see that the city of Rio is squashed at the foothills of the Eastern Highlands and a small coastal strip there. Oh, and my drawing's going to stay there. Very famous beaches, Copacabana and Ipanema. And the city red squiggly line is there. It's also famous for Carnival, which is the 2-week festival. It occurs in February, just before Lent. Thousands of people travel. The favelas are there as well, and these have become a tourist attraction. You can get tours around them. Not sure how I feel about that, to be honest. What is missing here is Sao Paulo. So, industrial centre, one of the richest cities in the southern hemisphere, and provides for most of Brazil's GDP. So this is downtown Sao Paulo, and you zoom out and you'll see that all around the outskirts, both north, south, east and west of the city, are basically covered by these favelas. So we talked about that class divide a little bit ago, and there's a really strong division between the wealthy and the poor in Brazil, and this is one of the best places where this is seen is Sao Paulo, where you've got some of the richest people in the southern hemisphere living next to some of the poorest people. What is missing? The Tropic of Capricorn is missing. Okay, and that is 23.5 degrees south of the equator, and basically anything between, so the equator's here, and the Tropic of Cancer is around about there. So all of this band here is known as the tropics, and they have a tropical or equatorial climate. What is missing? Oh, Uruguay, the neighbouring country. Okay, I hope you had fun playing that. Oh, we're not done. What is missing now? Brasilia? No, that's there. Oh, the Trans-Amazonian Highway. So one of the longest roads in the world. But I mean, it's called a road, but a lot of it is just a red dirt track. It is paved as it comes through the cities, but it goes through, if we go back and have a look, it goes through the Amazon. And one of the purposes why it was built was to access the mineral wealth of the Amazon and the other resources like the trees. But like I said, sometimes of the year after rainy season it's completely impassable and useless, but it is paved when it gets into the cities. The Eastern Highlands, these are basically like and that wasn't much, they're more of a lava plateau than they are of a mountain range, and there's the entire thing. So at this point here, I want you to go to your booklets and I want you to draw in the map onto page 3, and just because I can't check these, please don't not do them. So please do them, because it'll refresh your memory as to where all of these goes. So you should have these from your mocks. I'll put a picture of it on the page later anyway. Put that in there. Right, I'm going to go to page 4, and this is just a look at the states and the regions within Brazil. So it's split into 4 regions: north, northeast, centre, west, southeast and south. Some of these states we will be referencing a huge amount. What's next? Yeah. So you do need to be familiar with them and you do need to know them. So I just want you to put a little bit of an X or highlight the following ones on your own map. So first of all, Minas Gerais, Rio. So remember, Rio is a state as well as being a city. So it's the state of Rio de Janeiro, and the main city in it is Rio de Janeiro. The state of Sao Paulo, the state of Paraná, the state of them. Sorry, it was a desperate joke. Bahia up here, where I really want to go. Mato Grosso, and actually Para is important as well because there's a huge amount of mineral wealth there. So these are kind of like the counties, and these. Oh my God! Sorry, Joshua is so noisy. Hang on. Right, hopefully you can't hear him screaming in the background, but we'll persevere. These are the ones that will be kind of coming up over and over again, so you need to have, oh my God, some idea of where they are. What I want you to do then is I want you to read through pages 2, 3 is just your sketch map, 4 is this map here, and I want you to have a look at the sketch map questions on page 5 and 6. This would be an extremely important map for both higher and ordinary level this year, because it hasn't come up since 2017, 2018, so I'd expect to see this on at least one of the papers. And what I want you to do is, I want you to test yourselves by doing higher level if you can do 2016 on page 5. So I want you to time and test yourselves and send a photo to me on Messenger. Ordinary level, if you could do 2018. Okay, I'll put those on the page. So anyway, so you're drawing, first of all, drawing the sketch map into the booklet, then you're learning it, then you are timing yourselves for no more than 7 or 8 minutes, and you're trying those questions. Now, what's really important is that you're not replicating the entire sketch map. You are just drawing the features that you're asked for. So if you draw all of the features, can I get me back up again? I feel like I do this when it's like I need to have a serious talk, but this isn't a serious talk. Don't know what's going on. Right, that was me from last time. So you are not drawing all of the features, because if you get into the habit of drawing too many features instead of the ones just named on the sketch map, you're going to run out of time in the exam. So you are literally just drawing the features that they ask you for. And if you have a look at page 5, okay, so let's take higher level 2016. The outline of a named feature or relief. It's asked for the outline. So don't just go into the mode where you're kind of spitting out everything you know. Just read it quite carefully. A named urban centre. The outline of a named agricultural or industrial region. So they're asking for the outline there. And the course of the named river. So the course of the river is the entire length of the river. Make sure that your key matches the question. So if it's asked for the outline, draw it as an outline. Don't shade it in. Okay. Ordinary level then, you're asked for 2 named urban areas in the region, 1 named river, and 1 named area of relief. So when you're doing the urban areas, what you need to do is you use the same symbol. So we're using a little red dot for the urban areas, use that for both of them, but then just name them differently on the map. So you might be using Brasilia and Rio de Janeiro. If you're unsure about any of that, let me know. So today is Tuesday. I will be posting this for tomorrow. So tomorrow evening I will expect loads of nice pictures of sketch maps. And look, we're starting off nice and easy here. It's written on page 2. I need to talk about. No. Right, that's it for today, and then we'll get motoring with the physical processes the next day. But that sketch map is really important, and I know by now you will all have your sketch maps hung around your rooms. So you will have the Western region, you will have the GDA, you'll have the Mezzogiorno, the Paris Basin, you will have Brazil, and you will also have the concept of a region in Ireland. Okay, I'm going to go and kill these children now.